Hey everyone, welcome back to SFDC Ninja, and I'm back with 66th video of Apex Trigger Scenario series. So without wasting any more time, let's get this started. Guys, imagine we are handling a hospital management system and our client needs to allocate beds to patients efficiently based on priority. Like if there is a critical case, then they should get a bed as soon as possible. And if there are no beds, then patient go on a waiting list. Confused? Let me explain it again in a simple way. But before understanding the scenario, you should understand the data model first, so that you will not get confused while going through the scenario. So in today's scenario, we are going to use three objects: patient, bed, and waiting list. On patient object, we have two pick list fields: admission status and priority. In admission status, we have values waiting, admitted, discharged, and in treatment. And in priority field, we have values critical, emergency, and normal. We also have a lookup field assigned bed. Basically, patient and bed are in lookup relationship with each other. Coming to next object, which is bed, we have two pick list fields there: status, which contains value occupied and available, and category, which contains values critical, emergency, and normal. And the third object is waiting list, which has a lookup field patient and a pick list field status, which contains values waiting for bed, bed assigned, patient admitted, cancelled, and expired. So this is the data model. Now let's understand the scenario. So in our hospital management system, when a patient record is created or updated, then we need to assign bed based on their priority. And if a bed is assigned, then we need to update admission status of patient to admitted. And also we need to update bed's status as occupied. And there is one more thing, which is if no beds are available for a patient, then we need to add the patient to the waiting list. Let's understand it by an example. Let's say a patient record gets created with admission status waiting and priority is critical. Then our code should look for a bed with same critical category. If it is there, then simply assign the bed to patient, and after that the admission status of patient should get updated to admitted, and status of bed should also get updated to occupied. But if there are no beds are available, then the patient should get added to waiting list. So guys, I hope the scenario is now clear to you. Now it's time to code. So let's go to VS Code and create our handler class. We will name it patient bed allocation handler. Now guys, understand it like this. See, we need to assign bed to patient, right? So we first need to have the available bed categorized by priority in our bucket so that we can easily assign the bed to patient. So what we will do, we will create a method like this: private static. Basically, this method will return a map where the key will be category and the value will be a list of beds. String list of bed, and let's name it get available beds by category, and we will pass the category as parameter. For example, if a patient has critical priority, then the code can quickly access available bed by just passing critical in this method to find the matching beds. Now, first let's fetch all available beds like this. Let's name it simply beds. Select ID, category, oh, let's fetch status also, where status is available, and category is this. Let's iterate over this list, but before that let's apply a null check on it. Now let's iterate over it. And now simply store the category and bed records in our map. So let's create a map first. Apply a check here. Contains key, category. Dot get. Basically, here what we are doing, first this line will check if this map already has an entry for the current beds category. If the map does not have this category yet, then we need to create an empty bucket for it, just like we did here. Now, once we have the category in the map, then we are adding the current bed into the right bucket. I hope you understood the code. Let's move to code again. And here, simply return this map. Now let's create our method, which we will call from our trigger. So let's create it. Static void. Let's name it located beds. And in this method, we will pass list of patients like this. Basically, in this list, we will pass trigger.new from a trigger. So this list is equal to trigger.new. Apply a null check on this list and iterate over it. Now in next step, what we'll do, we will apply a check like this. Not equals to waiting, then we will simply use the continue keyword. See, if this condition will get true, then it means that either the patient is admitted or discharged, which means the patient does not need any bed. So we will simply skip that record using continue keyword. Guys, this continue keyword is used to jump to the next iteration of the loop by skipping the current patient. Now let's store the patient priority in a variable. Patient priority. Now using this method that we have created here, we will fetch list of available beds in a map like this. String list of bed available beds. Copy this method name, paste it here, and simply pass the patient priority. Now our next step is to assign available bed to the patient, and we have list of available bed in the value of this map, correct? So let's apply a check like this. If copy this map name, paste it here, dot contains key, patient priority. So we are using this line to check that if the current patient priority is present in this map or not. If this condition will get true, means that priority is present. And if priority is present, then what we will do? We will simply store the available beds in our list like this. Copy this map name, paste it here, dot get, And after this step, we will assign the bed in a variable like this. Apply a null check. Let's create a variable allocated bed, copy it and paste it here. Now you guys must be thinking that why we have used this remove function here. So see, so there are two reasons of using it, which are first, by calling this remove function, we are storing the first available beds of this list in this variable. Now, after it gets stored in this variable, it needs to be removed from the list. Why? So that other patients won't get assigned the same bed. Basically, this remove function not only gives you the first bed, but also ensures that this bed is no longer available for future assignments. Now apply a null check on this variable. If allocated bed not equals to null, and here we will simply assign the bed to patient and also update its admission status to admitted. So let's do it. Let's copy this variable name. Let me check the API name. .id, and also we need to update the admission status. And as a best practice, we will not perform DML inside for loop. So what we'll do, we will create a list here and we will name it patients to update. Copy this list name, paste it here, .add. Now we also need to update the status of allocated bed. So let's copy this one, paste it here, .status to occupied. This is to show that now this bed is occupied. Similarly, we will create one more list. Now this one is for bed. So we will name it beds to update. Copy this list name, paste it here, .add. Now this part of code will be executed if we have a bed available. But if the bed is not available, then we need to create a waiting list record. So let's use else here. Waiting list record. Copy this variable name, paste it here. We need to change the status also. Waiting for bed. Create one more list. This is for creation. Copy this list name, paste it here, and add this record in it. Now we have all the things that we need to create or update. So now simply here apply null check on these lists. We need to update it. Similarly for patient, and here we need to insert it. Save it and deploy it to org. Okay, we are getting error. It is saying that this method is missing return. Okay, we need to return it here. Save it and deploy it again. Now it is successfully deployed. So we have our handler class ready. Now let's create a trigger and we will name it patient uh, bed location trigger. Now it is obvious that our trigger will be on patient object with after event. So let's write patient here, after insert, after update. Apply a check is after copy our handler class name and in parameter we will pass trigger.new. Save it and deploy it to org. It is successfully deployed. We have our code ready. It's time to see it in action. So let's go to our org. So in our org, we have three bad records with status available and with category critical, emergency, and normal. So now what we'll do, we will first create a patient with admission status waiting and priority, let's say critical. Click on save. Now, as you can see that bed 1 is assigned to this patient, which has the same category as patient critical. And let's update this list. Also, the status of this bed is updated to occupied, which means our trigger is working fine for two conditions. Now, what we'll do to see that whether our trigger is working fine for waiting list also, we will create another patient record with same category critical. And as you can see that we don't have any bed available for category critical. So what will happen for that patient record, a new waiting list record will be created. So let's create a patient. Admission status is waiting, priority is critical. Click on save. Let's update this list. Open this record. And here, as you can see, that a waiting list record has been created, which means our trigger is working fine for all requirements. So that's it for today, guys, and I'll be back with more interesting trigger scenarios. Thank you and keep watching.